The rain was relentless that night, hammering against the cracked windows of the old house. Every clap of thunder made the hairs on my arms stand on end. But it wasn't the storm that terrified me. It was the sound coming from the kitchen, a low, guttural growl that wasn't human. I froze, staring into the darkness, heart pounding as the seconds stretched like hours. That's when I saw him. Rust, the scruffy golden retriever that had wandered into our lives only 3 months ago, standing protectively in the doorway, his fur soaked, eyes locked on the shadows. Rust wasn't just a dog. He had a presence that demanded attention, a loyalty that ran deeper than blood. From the moment I rescued him from the street, thin and trembling under a dumpster, I knew he was special. But I never imagined how far that loyalty would go. It all began that evening when my father, an elderly man with a fragile heart, had returned home unusually quiet from his evening walk. He didn't complain, didn't even eat dinner. I noticed the tremor in his hands as he set down his cup of tea, and I knew something was wrong. Before I could ask, a distant scream tore through the night air, cutting across the street and echoing through the empty houses like a knife. Rust barked sharply, ears pinned back, and bolted toward the door. I followed, slipping on the wet tiles, but he didn't wait for me. He was already gone, sprinting into the storm, tail stiff and eyes forward. Something told me he knew exactly where he was going. The scream came again, closer this time, and I saw him, a small figure, no older than 10, trapped under the fallen branch of a massive oak tree, their cries lost in the roar of the storm. Rust didn't hesitate. He lunged at the branch, biting and tugging, straining with all the strength he had. I ran to help, but my hands felt clumsy, weak compared to his relentless determination. Minutes passed like years, and the rain soaked us to the bone. Finally, with one final heave, Rust dislodged the branch. The child scrambled free, crying, shaking, and Rust immediately positioned himself between the child and the raging storm, growling at the wind as if daring it to come closer. I will never forget the look in the child's eyes, wide with fear, disbelief, and awe, and the look in Rust's eyes, calm but vigilant, protective yet gentle. In that moment, I realized that a dog's loyalty isn't just instinct, it's something deeper, something heroic. After the child was safely wrapped in blankets and comforted by the neighbors, Rust returned home soaked, shivering, but with his head held high. He walked in like nothing had happened, like it was just another day, but I knew, the whole street knew, a dog had saved a life and the legend of Rust had begun. The following weeks were filled with small miracles that made me question how much of what we call loyalty can be trained and how much is innate. Rust would accompany my father on every walk, always alert, always cautious. He once stopped a car from hitting a stray cat by darting in front of it, barking until the driver slammed the brakes. He comforted a neighbor's dying dog, lying beside it, refusing to leave until it took its last breath. Every act was small, yet they added up to something monumental, a constant proof of the kind of love only a dog can give. But the real test came a month later. That night, the house was quiet. The storm had passed, and I was alone, working late at my desk. Rust lay curled at my feet, his breathing steady. I heard it first as a faint clink, the sound of glass breaking in the living room. My pulse jumped, and before I could reach the light switch, Rust was gone. He didn't bark, he didn't growl, he moved silently, shadows wrapping around him like a cloak. I followed cautiously, trying to remain hidden, and then I saw him, a man masked and desperate, rifling through drawers, oblivious to anything but the valuables he thought he could steal. Rust didn't charge, he didn't bark. He circled quietly, positioning himself behind the intruder. Then, with a single leap, he landed on the man's back, teeth bared, growling like thunder, eyes locked on him. The man screamed, tripping and falling to the ground. Rust didn't release his grip until I had called the police, and they were almost at the door. When the officers arrived, they barely believed what they saw. A dog had not only scared off a burglar, but had pinned him long enough for law enforcement to arrive.
Rust wagged his tail, tongue lolling, acting like it was just a game, while I knelt down and hugged him. "You're incredible," I whispered, tears streaming down my face, and he licked my cheek as if saying, "I'm just doing what I'm meant to do."
It wasn't long before the story spread. The local news covered it, and soon people were coming to meet the dog who had saved a child and stopped a criminal. Russ didn't care about the attention. He only cared about us, his family, and the streets he now watched over like a silent guardian. One evening, as the sun set over the quiet neighborhood, Rust and I sat on the porch. The sky was painted in fiery oranges and deep purples, reflecting off his golden coat. I thought about all the stories I had seen, read, and heard about dogs being loyal companions, but Rust had shown me something more. A dog's bravery doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers in small acts of love, in protection, in a presence that says, "I will be here no matter what." Years later, I still tell Rust's story whenever someone asks why dogs are so special. The brave dog who saved a child, defended a home, and loved without limits. A dog who, in one stormy night, showed me the meaning of loyalty, courage, and heart. And even now, when I hear a strange noise at night, I don't reach for a weapon or my phone. I just look to Rust, lying in the corner, and know that he's watching, waiting, ready, because that's what a legendary dog does.